welcome you now to another episode of the Global Land Factor podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. I'm your host, Cristina Valentin. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Why? You have nothing to lose and so much to gain, like this amazing story by Bernadette. She's supporting women business, minority business, and businesses from all over the place with the artisan work. And her story is magnificent. An educator by heart. And now to her episode. Bernadette, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, bien, gracias.
Long time no see.
I know.
It's not that long. It hasn't been that long since Tamales.
No, you're traveling.
Yeah,
that's right.
True. Thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you have a busy schedule. You have a lot of markets that you do, and in addition to your daily. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Before we get started, though, we're going to go ahead and start with a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're missing out on amazing stories, amazing conversations of amazing, inspiring individuals. They are doing and pursuing and supporting the comunidad. Así es que subscribe. Are you ready? ¿Estás lista?
I'm ready.
Tacos o tortas?
Tacos.
Corn tortilla or flour tortillas?
Corn.
Gorditas or pupusas?
Gorditas.
Jarritos, ¿de qué sabor?
Any sabor, really.
Any sabor? True that. Except for the Coke. I don't know if you ever
I've
had
not tried that one.
The box one. Don't try it.
No, okay.
I'm starting a petition today as far as like, why does Jarrito have the Coca, Mexican Coca, they call it.
I've never even heard of that one. I always stay with the traditional one.
It's like, if you buy the box, there's different flavors. One of them is a Coca-Cola or two, and nobody drinks it. Like my family has a collection of it. Because it doesn't taste like a Mexican Coca. You know what I mean?
I do.
And it's not that good. So sorry, Jarrito. We'll have petition for another amazing flavor. Colombia has amazing fruits. Por favor, holla at them for some amazing fruit flavors. Agua de horchata, Jamaica, or tamarindo? Horchata. Oh, nice. Salsa verde or salsa roja? Which team are you?
Salsa verde.
Salsa verde. I like that. Menudo or pozole?
Pozole.
Valentina, Tabasco, Cholula, or Tapatio hot sauce?
Cholula.
Churros, or flan?
Oh, that's a hard one. Ew. Churros.
Nice. Let's say you did amazing on the market, you sold out or near close to sell out, and some of you told people about amazing artisans that you have and you want to celebrate. When you want to celebrate, do you prefer dancing bachata, salsa, merengue, or even tejano? What did you go to?
Probably salsa.
Salsa?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm making it up as I go, but
really?
I would rather have a salsa or maybe tejano.
Tejano, nice, awesome. When you hear the word Latino or Latina, what is the very first thing that comes to mind for you?
Variedad. I just hear that word in my head. I have all these pictures of my tias and my mom and my people who've influenced me. That's what I think of.
Variedad, variety.
Yeah.
Diferentes cosas, definitely. Do you consider yourself Latina? Do you
Yes.
care to be? Awesome.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, let's start a little bit of your story. Again, I met you at the Cabo Bar making cookies.
We made cookies at Christmas.
Delicious. She tried one of the cookies, Brie, because after that I went to Fort Worth, and then so happened to be that
she got to be the tester.
Yeah, she got to try my amazing decoration cookies. So, yeah, and then after that, fast forward, we go to Tamal and Elote Fest.
Amazing
and there you
event.
are, vending. I see your whole display. It looked lovely. I bought a ornament.
Thank you.
And it was part of my mom's Christmas tree, so it has it there. It's always gonna be there. So it was lovely. So,
thank you.
And then we talked for a little bit, and I thought it was very interested as far as telling your story, and then the things you were educating me about, like as far as your accessories. But we'll get to that here in a second. I know I said that I was gonna talk about the Bad Bunny concert, Super Bowl performance, but I think it's kind of dying out. So I'm not gonna ask it every single time. But I don't know if you're into football. artist, artistry, his performance. If you catch it at the Super Bowl, what were your thoughts about it in general?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm Mexican American, Mexicana Americana.
Mm-hmm.
My children are half Mexican, Puerto Rican.
Oh no!
So for me, it was very beautiful. It was beautiful.
Very lovely, man. Emotional and all that. So 4 billion views on YouTube and growing every day.
I so proud.
Didn't expect nothing less.
Yeah.
It surpassed every other Super Bowl that there is, even though there was other events going on at the time. Still, numbers did amazing as far as, and I just knew it too.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to break records, even for, let's say, the minority that we still showed up. So That's awesome. Okay, let's get started. So you said Mexican American, your roots. I know that you mentioned that your dad was heavy on education and your mom was more of like, and your tias and everything was more into the servicing. But tell me about your upbringing. Were you born here in the Dallas area?
Yes, I was born in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are from El Paso, so all of my extended family is from El Paso, and they came here in Dallas not knowing anyone.
Wow.
And we ended up in East Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you didn't have the apartments. Was in the 70s, so the apartments could choose to have adult only, no children, and my mom was pregnant with me.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of took pity on her, and and said, I mean, yeah, come live here. And I was born in, while they were at those apartments, and I was the only child in the entire apartment complex. But It was a lovely environment because everybody kind of protected me and embraced me. It wasn't in the best neighborhood in the world,
mm-hmm.
but I had a beautiful early experience there, coming to Dallas. So in my very formative years, 0 to 3, I teach, child development. That's important years. That was, a lovely time for me.
So whenever you're growing up, as far as, do you still remember as in the same apartment complex, or did you eventually got to move differently and start sort of like living life in Dallas?
We grew up suburban because they moved from Dallas to Garland. So yeah, they wanted a house. They didn't want to live in an apartment, and there was nothing in Garland at the time.
How is Garland, going to school in Garland at that time? Do you realize that you're kind of Mexicana and there's other Mexicanos around you?
There was no Mexicanos.
Wow.
It was crazy. I was the only. There was like a few. It was hard. I will be really honest with you. It was hard. I didn't see anyone who really looked like me other than my sister.
Wow.
So I had to learn really early to live between two worlds. My family, of course, speaking Spanish at home. My native language was English. My dad grew up in a time where he was persecuted for speaking Spanish. So he made the decision to teach us English first. But, I wasn't around anyone except for family and a few friends of my family. So I did not have a community around me the way that you see Garland now. It's very, very different than what I grew up with. But then I would always go to El Paso and my cousins and my family and my grandma. So, yeah.
Whenever you're talking about living in two worlds, and because a lot of people in general sometimes make fun of the no sabo kids because they never learn. Sure. But just like you and other people and your father, it's like it was frowned upon and very negatively that you have to just speak English, and that's it. And of course you lose your native, your roots, the language of your roots. All of a sudden that's all you know. You just know English, and even if you look like you know Spanish, it's just not the thing, right?
Right.
When was it that Spanish started getting introduced more? Is it when you went to El Paso? They kind of, because, for me, that's all I knew until I learned English.
Yeah. Well, my parents spoke Spanish in the home. So I understood Spanish, and I understood it, but I just didn't respond, and we weren't always responding back in Spanish. Who influenced me to speak Spanish was my grandmother. Both of my grandmothers, because they couldn't speak English. So when I went to El Paso, I had to speak Spanish with them. And I loved my grandmother so much. My mom's mom would take me all over Chihuahua on the bus. She would take me to Mexico. We'd go to all these places. I wanted to be with her so much that she influenced me to learn Spanish. So she was my inspiration.
Whenever you're in the bus or cruising around Chihuahua with your grandma, what does that feel like to you? Is it like it's not Garland for sure?
It was a whole nother world. Even my,
Uh-huh.
even my aunts and uncles, we'd always go across the border. It was no big deal back
Mm-hmm.
in those days. Everybody would cross the border and come back and forth. Um, it feels like home. It felt like really, really good memories to me. And so again, there's that feeling of, okay, this is home to me, but then I live in this world over here. And I was always trying to blend those two worlds and make sense of that. But I knew that I loved being in Mexico. Um, but I also felt like I didn't always fit there. My Spanish wasn't native Spanish. I learned with my grandmother. I went on to speak it in college, and I learned through study abroad, actually, and became a bilingual teacher.
How did you deal with the friction of knowing that kind of like you're not directly from over there, but
Mm-hmm.
over here is a little different también sometimes. So how did you deal with that? How you maneuver through that as a kid? Because it seems like you remember that
I do.
your Spanish wasn't exactly like everybody else's
Right,
Spanish.
right, right. I knew I wasn't a native speaker. People knew I wasn't a native speaker. But again, I still had such a love for my grandmother and my
Mm-hmm.
culture, wanting to speak to my cousins in Mexico. Um, I think I mean, how did I navigate the friction? I think I just tried to be present wherever I was. So
Mm-hmm.
I was over there, I was doing what they were doing. I was learning, I was watching, I was observing. I'm over here, I'm in a different environment, I'm learning, I'm watching, I'm observing. And that's why I say I feel like I'm truly bilingual, bicultural,
Mm-hmm.
because I do have those two cultures. I'm proud of those two cultures. Um, I never want to leave my Latino roots. That is something that is precious to me. I know there's a lot of people who don't know how to speak the
Right.
language. They don't know where they came from. They don't know their roots. That would be, for me, that would be very detrimental. So I've always had that inside of me, and I've tried to pass that on to my girls
Yeah.
as
Do
well.
you remember the most vivid, most happiest memory in Mexico and Chihuahua at all? Do you remember something that happened, an event that makes you kind of like smile or laugh,
There's
or
so
even a
many.
conversation that you happen to have and bring up all the time that happened?
I remember a lot of them. I remember going to my first wedding
Really?
in Mexico.
¿Y qué tal?
It was like in El Rancho. It
Yeah.
was a big, and I was dressed. My mom, my tia had made sure we were dressed nicely and the whole thing. And I just had never seen so many people in my life.
Wow.
Like, it was like the whole town was there. It was inside of a barn,
Mm-hmm.
and but it was beautiful. I mean, I think what impressed me about that is how resourceful it was,
Mm-hmm.
and how everyone had taken everything they had to make that wedding so beautiful. And we were there. It was, how, well, I don't have to explain to you.
Yeah.
A wedding is a long time. It's a big party. It went
Yeah.
all night. And I think I was like, I might have been between 16 and 18 years
Oh
old.
wow.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
That's
But I thought it was just a beautiful experience, the food, everything. The day after, we're over there with the family, and it was lovely.
so the whole time, all these years you were growing up back and forth, it was to Mexico, El Paso,
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua,
Mm-hmm.
constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Uh, I know that you mentioned in an article that your dad was heavy on education, or it was really important to him. Was that reason why you trying to want to be an educator, or is that who kind of ignited that, or where did that comes from? When did you start to kind of sort of seeing maybe
Hmm.
I want to try education, or maybe it's something that I might like to do?
I think it was my dad and my grandmother.
Mm.
That was a combination of those two. My dad came into this country as an immigrant. He was born in Acapulco. His mother brought him here across the border to Juarez and then eventually El Paso. He ended up fighting in Vietnam.
Mm. Wow.
And because he did that, he did it voluntarily as well. And that's how he gained his citizenship.
Hmm.
Um, that was when my parents were getting married. So that was the first tour. It was before I was even born. I would remember seeing my dad at night. The GI Bill allowed him to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a degree in psychology, but he
Wow.
never used it.
Wow.
But I remember he went to UTD, and I remember seeing him as a little girl sitting up at night studying. And he was just, there at the table studying and studying and studying. And actually I was like, I don't know if I want to go to college. This looks stressful. But I just remember that influence of him. And then he made me read to him all the time. He wanted me to be a good reader, and we read every single night. And I am a good reader, and I think a lot of that was my dad's influence. So that was probably the value for education. My dad modeled that to me. He was showing that to me just by through his struggle and seeing him study and go to school. That's the value that I got. My grandmother was a teacher, so I think that's where I got some of the love and the passion for education and young children and all of those things.
Was that the grandma that took you to Chihuahua?
Yes, that's my grandmother. Used to take me to Chihuahua. She was a teacher.
So I know that you mentioned earlier certain years are super important when you're developing kids. So did you ever see your grandma teaching at that time or not necessarily?
Oh, no, that was way later. Yeah, because she was in El Rancho, teaching, when she was young.
Okay,
yeah.
She was young. That's awesome. So as far as, so is that kind of sort of like made you want to like, okay, I want to go to school. It's not scary. It's not so much work. I can go to college. And is education the field that you want to get into, or is there anything else that you kind of sort of want to explore?
I actually didn't start wanting to be a teacher. I wanted to be a child life specialist, which is someone who would go into the hospitals and work with children who were delayed because of their surgeries or whatever reason. And there was one event that happened. I had a friend who was a bilingual teacher at the time, and I was in college, and she said, "Hey, could you come into my classroom and talk to the kids about..." And I was like, "What about what?" And she's, I'm like going, "What am I going to talk to them?" Because they're 5-year-olds, And she goes, "About going to college." And I'm like, "Okay," because I was in college at the time, and I think this was an old Girl Scout leader or someone like that. And I said, "Sure, okay, I'll go to your classroom." And I saw these little Latino children, these little bilingual Latino children. And I was like, that's me. But I didn't even have that experience. They were native speakers. But I was speaking to them and talking to them about going to school one day in college. They just won my heart. They won my heart. I said, those kids, that is what I want to do. I want to teach those. It wasn't just teaching. It was teaching that particular group of kids. And I didn't have strong Spanish skills. But I made the choice to be a bilingual teacher.
So you immediately went and switched your degree?
I switched my degree.
Switched your degree and it was teaching.
It was teaching.
But with the emphasis in Spanish, bilingual.
Yes.
Okay. So how good is your Spanish? What year was it that you pivoted? Was it sophomore year, junior year?
It was my sophomore year of college. Okay. So I went to junior college. I went to community college, and now I teach community college. And and then I went on to UNT. So I just switched my major when I was at UNT. UNT did not have a bilingual program. It didn't even exist. So I had to get my bilingual education from Texas Women's University. So I had to get an endorsement from them and the training from them in order to teach the bilingual, in order to take the bilingual exam to become a teacher.
Was it UNT? You just wanted to do it because you're a father, or was it just something that it was there for you to do?
I think I wanted to get out of the house. That's the honest truth. I mean, he said, if you go to school and you live there, I will pay for your schooling. Your father? My father told me, again, valued education.
By the way, thank you so much for his services, being a veteran as well. I mean, sometimes I think that the veterans are the ones that, like Vietnam and all the other ones, but we still go through our struggles. But thank you. I thank him.
Thank you.
That, definitely hard stuff. Yeah. So he cut you a deal. It's like, okay.
He cut me a deal. And I took it. I was like, heck yeah. And so I had to live in the all-girls dorm. I could not live in any, co-ed dorms. That was part of the deal. And I did it. I did my junior year and my senior year. And then I studied abroad. I went to El Tecnológico de Monterrey.
Oh, wow.
In Cuernavaca. That's where I learned my upper-level Spanish.
I think I told you that I'm from Morelos, right?
Yeah.
Cuernavaca is right
beautiful,
there.
Beautiful.
Fun fact. Medellín is called La Ciudad de la Eterna Primavera. Cuernavaca is also known as La Ciudad de la Eterna Primavera.
Right, yeah.
Nuts.
I didn't know that Medellín.
Yes. I didn't. They were calling. I'm like, what do you mean La Ciudad de la Eterna Primavera? That's my hood. That's my town. That's where I was raised. And I'm like, oh, well, but they have very tropical weather.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
I loved it.
For somebody, your first generation as far as going to school, is your sister first and then you? Or
well, no, I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. So you went to school first.
Yes.
going to school, first generation, well, not first generation because your dad
Second,
went
yeah.
second generation. But as far as for you, how easy was it to maneuver through the process of going into college, enrolling, and maybe seeking some financial aid? I know your dad was going to pay for it, but I don't know if there's other things that you maybe wanted to, like maybe get some more help.
It was hard because
Mm.
I had to do it all by myself.
Okay.
He did, he said, I'm not going to be involved. You figure it out. And to his credit, I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
It is a difficult system to navigate.
Right.
And I did do it by myself. I was motivated to do it by myself. My mom was always there supporting me. My mom is not college educated, but she's an incredibly resourceful person who worked her way up through companies.
Mm-hmm.
But she was there supporting me emotionally. My dad said, go do what you need to do. So start reading, start researching. I had counselors at the community college who helped me transition. But as far as was there any help, no. The type of help that we give to students today didn't exist at that time, or maybe it existed, but maybe I wasn't unaware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So you were able to figure it out. Everything else, all the forms that you need to fill out.
I did. I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
They had phone registration. I would dial in.
Phone
That's how old I
registration. Not at all. All these kids love the throwback phones these days. So, did you like school? Was it something that you
did.
enjoyed? I know that there was a
did.
moment that you saw an epiphany of teaching the kids, but one thing is like actually liking school and going through school. So you did like it.
I did. And again, I was there the only. It was me and one other girl. Shout out Juanita Valdespino. She was the other Latina that was in education. That's all I remember. The two of us in that field of study.
Yeah.
I met other Latinas there, and that was a time that was great for me because I connected with other Latinas that were, going through school. So that was my community and at UNT. But they were all in business and accounting and other fields, and I was the only one in education. So I really did love it. I was passionate about it.
What was your degree in specifically?
Interdisciplinary studies. Okay. So I'm certified to teach pre-K through 6th grade.
Okay.
And then I went on and got a master's in development and family studies, and that's what my college teaching background.
Okay, let's go in steps. Usually community college, you get to graduate before you get to move on to the next one. Did you have a graduation?
I don't remember it.
You remember it? Okay, let's move forward to after you're about to graduate. Okay. What is the feeling behind that? I know you put the effort, you found something you're passionate about, you're going to do the teaching, now you getting ready to, you figure it all by yourself on how to do it. Now you're getting ready to start prepping for getting your gown, getting everything. How does that feel for you?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was an amazing. I have a picture still, and I put it in the most recent article I did of me, my mom, and my grandmother. It was really beautiful. It was almost unbelievable to me. I don't know that I thought I would do that. I don't know that I thought that was in the cards for me.
What was the hesitation behind it? Why you think there was a hesitation of that you could do it or not?
I think that and this is a cultural thing too that we see often. I thought my path was, get married and, settle down and get married. I don't know why that was always kind of in the back of my head. I knew I wanted to go to school, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to go to school for. I wasn't, and I did get married, very young. I was married very young in college, right out of college. And, but I guess I never saw myself there. And then when I got there and I started to really get into the teacher education program and learn about bilingual ed, which these were the forerunners of bilingual ed. These were people who wrote the textbooks, because there was nobody doing that at that time.
Wow.
Alma Florada, who was an author, she came to our class and read books. And then Stephen Krashen, who was one of the theorists in bilingual ed, he came and talked to us. And they were all the teachers' friends. They were just like, hey, my friend, is going to come. And then years later, I realized these people were the forerunners of bilingual education. It was
so the really pioneer in that course, that it wasn't even a thing.
You couldn't take it at UNT. Wow. I had to take it at TWU. So I would go and take my classes at TWU. So I've had that experience as well.
When you're there about to walk and they're about to call your name, how does it feel for you?
Surreal. Yeah. And at the master's level, I remember that too. It was very surreal.
So you go all the way to get your master's. That's the only way to get to be a college professor, right?
Right.
So you do like schooling.
I do, apparently.
Did you go all the way to master's and straight roll into forward, or did you take a break and went to work? And
I worked.
You worked.
I worked. I didn't have the money. I paid for my master's. So, I mean, my dad was like, yeah, I will help you, which was the greatest gift he could have ever given me. But, obviously I was married. And so I worked, and I was a bilingual teacher in Farmers Branch for a number of years. And then I decided I would see the families I was working with, and I knew that the families needed support. So I decided to go into development and family studies. And that led me down the path to my master's.
Okay. So which one came first? You got the job and then decided to do the master's, or you were just planning to do it at the same time because you were married? I don't know if you had kids at the time.
Didn't have kids.
Okay. So which one came first? You wanted to just focus on schooling first, and then, you know what, let me just go for my master's?
No, I was teaching. My teaching inspired the master's.
What happened? What event?
I saw the families, the Latino families I was working with, and there was not a lot of parental involvement, or the way that I needed to involve those families was different because they were working all the time. So I would do things at night. I would try to get them together with the comadre to come to the event, or let's do this event in a different way because they had different needs. And I saw that, and I said, these families want to be involved. The way that they are doing it doesn't look like the typical American family at that time. And I knew I needed to learn more about that, and I wanted to know more about that. And so that's why I chose development and family studies.
So you made your decision to go to your master's based on, like, you somewhat limited to what you could do with the families, but you saw the potential that you could do a lot more if you just went back to school. Okay. Once you get to enroll in the master's, you still the first one, only one to try to figure it out? Is it a little bit easier now?
I figured it out a little faster. I also went back to UNT because it was comfortable for me.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of people say don't do that. When you're in college or in academia, you should have a diverse type of educational background.
Say that? What is the benefit behind it?
I don't know. They want you to have a diverse educational background when you're in academia. Okay. I didn't know I was going to end up as a college professor. So at that time, I was like, sure, I'm going to go back here. These are the people I know. I'm comfortable here. It was a drive from where I lived. I could get there at night. I had to go take all my classes at night. And there was no online classes. So I had to drive every Monday and Wednesday to the campus. Yeah.
How long does it take you to complete it?
2 years.
2 years to the master's. So after all the sacrifice, driving at nighttime, now you're getting ready to graduate once again with the master's. And then now you have your husband involved. How does that feel for you at that
Amazing.
time? Yeah.
Again, I remember that picture with my dad, and him being very proud of me.
Are your mom and your dad able to articulate the way that they feel? A lot of the time, sometimes our parents don't know. They'll have the wording, the emotion to be able to express those things. Were they able to say something to you?
Definitely. Yeah. My dad's a man of few words. I mean, he's a vet. He's seen and been through a lot. But when he says something that's significant, and so, yeah. And even today, my mom was like, oh, we want the video of the podcast. My mom, a Mexican mom,
My mom loves to take pictures, and I'm all for it too.
Like, you talk to my kids, they hate pictures. But, my mom, of course, is so proud, so, yeah, they have been able to express that. And I'm very thankful. They've been married for 54 years yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And so that's an amazing model for me because they're really polar opposite personalities. And for them to have that commitment to each other and their family through all that we've been through, it just makes me want to make them proud, even today.
Do you think the way that your mom is as far as servitude and things like that was part of the factor that contributed to you wanting to help those families?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, she modeled that. My grandmother modeled that. My mom modeled that. They were always women of service. The kids would walk across the border in El Paso and stop at my grandma's house because they knew it was a safe place. They could get food and a bed for the night. And she would always have all kinds of people. We would go and we're like, Grandma, who's that? And it would be some person who needed help.
She slept on your couch. She's your tío now.
I know, your cousin exactly. Now. Seriously, we would be like, okay. But, she was always safe.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And my mom, the same thing. She would find people who needed something. She worked in a domestic violence shelter for a while. She
Mm.
did a service there, and that was my model. So yeah, I think they were heavily influencing me in that area. So
Once you get your master's, is there other opportunities? Because first of all, you started with bilingual education, right?
yes.
And then you moved into special needs kids, correct?
A little bit more of that, yeah, because development and family studies is kind of a very broad,
Hmm.
you can work with families, you can work with children with special needs. I just happen to go the route of children with special needs.
Is that the right term or the right wording for it? Guys, I don't
Yes.
know if they changed it
Yes.
or.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Put the child first, right? It's the child who has a need that's outside of what's typical.
Is that the Latino community, Mexican community? Is there a lot of that need in that?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
What is the most things that you see usually as far as kids? What kind of disability or kind of struggle do they have more?
When I worked in early childhood intervention when I got my
Mhm.
master's. I left when I got pregnant with my first daughter, and I took a huge pay cut and went and worked for this organization where you would work with the child and you'd work with the family.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like a lot of the families, what they need was just support.
Mm.
They would be like, hey, can you help me find food stamps? Can you help me find an in-home nurse? I remember one mom, she had a child who had a digestive issue that the child was up every 2 hours and had to
Yeah.
be fed every 2 hours. The mom was exhausted. The high school teenagers were taking shifts for the mom, but then they had to go to school.
Mhm.
And then the dad was working full time. So the support that I saw those they had the same issues a lot of other families had in terms of they had a child with Down syndrome, they had a child with different disabilities.
Right.
But what was different about these families was that they didn't have the support that the resources that other families had. So I used my bilingual skills, I used my Spanish speaking skills to coordinate services for those families. So not only did I provide services or get the PT or the OT or whoever they needed,
Mm-hmm.
but then I would say, okay, what else do you need? You need food stamps. The mom who couldn't, had to feed the baby every 2 hours. I found a nurse to come and be overnight with her. Through the agency, I found a nurse so that she could rest.
So did you stop educating and work for that private
Completely,
company?
I went into early childhood intervention. I was an intervention specialist.
When it comes to early child intervention, it sounds.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It could mean to me a million and one things. But as far as in your field, what does that mean?
It's someone who goes into the home and it works. The child is identified with a need between the ages of 0 and 3. That's the most critical developmental timeline. Right. The state helps to pay for some of these funds. So part of what I did was educate people and talk to doctors and teach. Anyone can refer. And I would deliver services. I'd go into the home. I'd do an intake. I would say, okay, this child has a speech delay. I would do assessments on the child, decide what type of delay they might have and what type of services they needed. And they might need a PT, a speech therapist, whatever. I would coordinate those services, bring those service providers in. Sometimes I would do some of the services. And then I would also find out what the family needs are, because that was the whole philosophy is, you can't just help the child, you have to help the entire family. But I was doing all of this in Spanish.
And it was for a nonprofit?
They run out of nonprofits mostly, but it's some state fund, very little now. You know how that's gone. It's like very little funding. It's one of those things that's really gotten cut. But at the time we had more state funding.
Nice.
And so we could use the state funding, Medicaid, CHIP, all of those different resources. And then we also had a nonprofit side. So we had those too.
Okay. What made you want to leave education? You were doing great work, and to be able to do more work, but in a different setting, a nonprofit and a more of an organization instead of like a school.
My daughters.
Yeah.
I wanted to be there for my daughters. I had a working mom who I loved, and I know that she sacrificed so much for me. Both of my parents working is probably what allowed me to have the means to go to college. But I wanted to be able to stay home a little bit with my daughter. I really did. So I didn't want to teach full time, and this job was a part-time job.
So it was a part-time job, and it gives you the opportunity still to do the things that you were doing to help families out.
Yes.
How long did that last before you move on into going back to teaching?
About 2 years I worked there. I was pregnant with Sophia. I remember that. And then the college called me and they said, oh, you have a master's degree. in this field. Do you want to come teach some part-time classes? And I was like, sure, and I just, thought, okay, great. Didn't ever think that was to become a full-time job. And yeah, that's how I started down that
How did
path.
they find you? Just randomly said.
Well, I had applied right out of
Oh.
graduate school. I had applied. I thought, oh, okay, maybe I could do this college professor thing. So I guess it did enter my head at one time.
But that was 2 years later,
It
though,
was,
right?
but it was right after, yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
right after I graduated. And remember, I was still teaching in the school.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a number of years of experience to be a college professor. They want the experience. Well, I
Gotcha.
didn't have enough experience. I had no college teaching experience whatsoever. So, of course, my application was rejected. I thought, okay, maybe I won't do that, and just went this other route. And then they ended up calling me to do part-time work, and that part-time work led
It's going
me
to
to
give you the
full-time.
experience that you needed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
how long after that happened did they called you?
Bad timing. I was like pregnant.
Ah.
So again, my daughters are 16 months apart. The
Gotcha.
second one was a little surprise. So I didn't anticipate being pregnant that soon after I had had my first daughter. But I went ahead and did it anyways because quite honestly, we needed the money. And I thought, okay, well, I can do this little part-time gig and still be at home and still have time with my daughters.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to do it.
So moving forward, business still not a thing.
No.
Is entrepreneur even a thing that you think about anytime soon?
Not at all. Not even on my radar.
So particular event happened that kind of pushes you to be able to want to explore that. You talked about it on your the article that you talked about in different places. Tell me what exactly happened that made you want to explore entrepreneurship. First of all, you were working at a warehouse packing things, and that kind of sort of developed into maybe a possibility of a business.
Yeah. So between that and between the teaching and the business was college professor. I became a full-time professor after adjuncting or part-time for a number of years. And then I just was a full-time.
After how many years part-time did you become
about
full-time?
2 years of part-time work. And then there was a program called the Visions of Excellence. And it was to attract Latino minority professors to the field. Because what I noticed when I was in there, that I looked more like the students than the other professors.
Because you were young?
Again, no, well, that, and then I was also Latina. And there was the other professors were seasoned and they didn't look like me, the Spanish teacher.
Right.
That was it. So they wanted to attract a broader cross section of professors that look like the community we were teaching, because community college is a very diverse setting, even age wise. And so I was part of that program. They gave me 2 years full time credit to teach, and I was a 2-year contract. I did that, and then I got a opportunity to apply for a full-time position, and I went and applied and got it.
You got the position. You're how does it feel to be a professor full-time now? You've been doing it part-time.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a different feeling for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never thought I would be there. But yes, so fast forward to that. And then I was always married and I was teaching college and raising a family in, the suburbs right over there. And then I did not anticipate in my daughter's senior year to be faced with a divorce. But quite honestly, that's what happened. And that put me into a financial situation that I kind of didn't know what to do, because I needed to keep my full-time job, but I needed to have money for expenses that I didn't expect. I had 2 girls going to school. I had a senior, and then on her tail was, her sister, who was going to be going to school the very next year. And so that's a lot of expenses. A lot of unexpected things happen. So my daughter had a friend whose mom was from Guerrero and had silver, had a business from there. She was a wholesaler. So she said, well, she always needs help packaging the silver. Why don't you help her? And it was an easier job to take than going applying for another part-time job. So I said, okay, I'll help her. And I was packaging these silver pieces and just making $15 an hour, and just trying to get enough money to pay for gas to take my daughter to Oklahoma or her whatever expenses. I had a bunch of expenses. So yeah.
So one thing is packaging the things to send to different places, and another thing is there could be something here. When does that come about? What do you see that you could be like, you know what, maybe I can do this?
I got desperate. Like
Okay.
I got really desperate. I was in a lot of financial overwhelm, and I had a $10,000 water leak in the front of our home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'd had all this caution tape and all this stuff outside. It looked like a crime
Like a
scene out
crime
there.
scene happened.
It was bad. My daughter's always called it the crime scene. The neighbors were like, "What happened?" And it was very expensive. And I found a friend whose husband was a plumber and willing to work with me. And I said, "Let me just try to raise some money to get you payments."
Mm-hmm.
And so I would work the silver packaging. But then she said, "Why don't you take it and sell it? And then just like have your friends and, have a little party." And I said, "Because I cannot pay you for this." Like I'm thinking she wants me to pay for her investment while I'm there making $15 an hour,
Yeah.
And I said, "I can't pay you." And she gave me the silver. She trusted me with the silver. She, took an
She upfront
inventory.
you the
Yeah, she
inventory.
basically did that. And I
Wow.
put it together. I told my friend, I was very transparent about what I was doing. I'm like, I'm doing this to try to pay the plumber, and I would take that money and I would pay that service. And I did that a number of times to get through the divorce. And when I finished, everyone's like, "Well, what about the silver?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just trying to get through the divorce or whatever." And that's at that point, it became, oh, this can be a business. This can be, because I wasn't making enough money to be on paper or on books or anything. But I thought maybe I can make this a business when people were asking me about it.
So smart that there's demand. There's a demand for it. There's a market for it.
For sure.
What you were doing.
For sure.
Even though you were doing out of necessity.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you decide to create your company, or you kind of sort of just started thinking about maybe having a company?
I think thinking about it was
Okay.
a better word. I was like, okay, well, what would I call it? And it's silver. So, and I did it for my girls, and my girls are always my silver linings in life. I always say that they're what got me through. They were my motivation. So that's why I called it my silver lining.
Go a little deeper about your silver lining. Why that particular phrase? Why the particular words when it comes to talking about your daughter's silver lining?
Because a silver lining in life is something that you get from challenge and struggle. That's what a silver lining is.
Mm-hmm.
And so my daughters, again, were the motivation for me to keep going, because it was a very difficult time. And so that was part of the reason. And then the other thing, the silver lining also is getting through that period, doing things I'd never done on my own, being financially stable
Mm-hmm. without
without a partner. That was a huge thing for me. Knowing that I could do all of that by myself. Of course, my family supported me, but I did all of that. So it was truly a silver lining in life. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, I know you mentioned that your parents just celebrated 55 years.
54 years.
54 years.
Yeah.
In our Latino community, divorce is such a very interesting thing, depending on
Right.
if you're too religious, not religious enough, or
Right.
either way, it's looked frowned upon.
Right.
How does that go for you as far as dealing with that? Because, of course, you're still thinking of the finances, but that conversation kind of sort of just lingers around, or how does that go? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
And how do you maneuver to get out of that?
No, I really appreciate you asking it, because I don't think we talk about it enough,
Mhm.
in our community. It was very difficult because of that cultural mindset that you
Mhm.
have of like, oh, this is for life, and we stay in it for life, and well intended, but it wasn't an option for me. I would have not been a good model to my girls had
Mhm.
I stayed in that situation. Nothing against anyone, it just wasn't the right, situation to stay in. And because of what we hear in our culture, like you said, all of this baggage almost that we carry,
Right.
you have to shift your mind a whole lot to get out of that. And I'm thankful for my family because they were very supportive of me. But I think it was a process. And I think that the business was part of that process. And it was part of like, you can build something on your own that is of value, and you can help other women. And that's why I started to add the business. I started to add other people's products that were women-owned businesses, because
Right.
many of them were doing the same thing. They were trying to be financially independent for one reason or another. And so I was able to support them as well.
Okay. now you have the actual name of the company first, or did you start doing pop-ups first and then the name later? People start asking, what's your company's name? Or which one was first?
I broke all the rules because I didn't know anything about business. So I would do these markets, and then they'd be like, well, where's your whatever certificate? I'm like, what's that? So don't tell me. What do you mean? So I got the tax occupancy certificate. I filed for a DBA. I did all the right steps. I kind of did them in the wrong order.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's okay. I mean, I look at, like, again, another silver lining in life you learned, right? And so I can tell people there's no right way to do something. It's still a thriving business where I get to support other women. I feel like that was okay.
I do a lot of things with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I haven't done so much for 1 million cups, but I'll be there soon. As far as supporting entrepreneurs and Latino speaking entrepreneurs, I would love it one of these days if you would love to want to present there at 1 million cups in Espanol, because we're started the very first chapter or community in 1 million cups, which is an organization that supports entrepreneurs. Every Wednesday they meet up. And we are very officially the first one in Fort Worth that I was part of to help launch it in Fort Worth. But one of the things that I see is the number one out of all the entrepreneurs, every single one of them is like, they just got started. And then they figured everything else.
Yeah.
Whether this was the first and that was supposed to be the second, it didn't matter.
No.
They just went and figured it out as they progress in the business.
100%.
Yeah.
That was my experience too. So.
Do you remember your very first market? How did you go about doing the very first market?
I do. I had a friend who invited me. Shout out to Vector Brewing. They allowed me to come to their space, and we actually did it to raise money for my friend's friend who had cancer. And so a portion of the proceeds went to her friend who had cancer. But she said, why don't you try it out here and do this? And they gave us the space. And yeah, I remember I had my friends come, I told them and did the whole little table thing. And I still remember that place is still close to my heart because they supported a small business. They still do to this day. And there's a lot of people out there in the DFW area, as you know, that support small businesses. Yeah.
So did you have the name already officially, or a couple of...
I did.
Yes.
I did because, I liked the My Silver Linings, and then I got the colibri. The logo came from my nephew. Wow. And he's a graphic design major, and he created it. And the colibri represents my grandmother because my grandmother did pass, the one that I speak of here often. My mom's mom. Yeah, she passed during COVID. And when she passed, we were all in different cities. My cousins live everywhere. Los Angeles and, Louisiana and all these different places. And so we a number of us, when we got together, we found out that we had all seen colibri that day that she passed. My mom saw one. I saw one. My dad saw one. My cousin in LA saw one. And we didn't find that out till we were at the memorial. And we're all talking. And then was like, what's so weird? The day that Grandma passed, I saw a colibri, and that's where that comes from. So, yeah, it's her spirit. Yeah.
That's so neat. I don't know why I got a little emotional about it. That's so freaking neat.
It still makes me emotional talking about it.
To see that, and all of y'all saw the same thing, and you incorporated it into your logo.
I did.
Awesome. Now, silver is the only thing that you're focusing on at that time, but eventually you start pivoting, as you mentioned earlier, to start supporting other women and other women businesses. Not only other women and other businesses, but internationally.
Yeah.
You started looking into other places. Where did that happen, or why did you want to expand even further away into other countries? Because you carry different things.
I do.
You can tell me a little bit more, expand on what is that you carry now.
Okay, so I carry silver, I carry plated gold, I carry beaded products, I carry hand woven, all of those different types of products. Mexico, made here, made in Guatemala, made in Venezuela, Peru. Nothing from El Salvador yet.
Yeah.
Peru, Venezuela, did I already say?
Yes.
So all of those places, right now, that's where the markets are. And then a lot of local. So it might be a Latina who is local. Calaca's a good example. Her brand, met her at a market. I said, I really love your brand. she took the time to sit down with me and say, this is how I do my business. She showed me.
Right.
I was so grateful to her. This is how I keep my books. I didn't know any of that stuff. And then eventually I said, would you be open to wholesale? Do you wholesale? And so then I added her, and that gives her exposure. I mean, most people know her brand, but it's something that I'm proud to carry because it represents the values of the boutique.
Where do you connect with people all over the place? Again, is it locally and then they bring the stuff over, or do you go on Instagram and kind of connect with somebody in another country and kind of sort of line?
I don't think I ever connected anybody cold like that Instagram wise. I don't think I would be the person to do it, but no, I didn't do that. They're mostly market people, and they're mostly people you meet. You start talking to them just like you and I started talking to each other. Hey, this is what I do. This is what you do. And you make a connection. And then, something about their brand or their products appeal to you and say, I would like to bring this to a broader market. A lot of these women, for example, Gabby, who I was telling you about with the earrings, she doesn't have money for advertising. She doesn't do advertising. She doesn't want to do social media, but I can put her products out and I can expose her to a broader market.
You call your people that you connect with the ladies artists.
Yeah,
because a lot of them are artists too, as far as their products and the way they do stuff, right?
Yes.
Why specifically calling them that? Because that's what they do at the end of the day. But other people might say just vendors or things like that.
That's not who they are. In my heart, they are the people who are making the product. The number one question I get when they come up to the boutique table is like, do you make all these things? I'm like, no, I would not have the time to make all these things.
But then you follow up by...
I always follow up with, these are all women's owned small businesses. They represent different artisans from different places. And I begin to talk about the different artisans and their work.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And actually their information is usually sitting out on the table so that person can buy directly from them. This is a broad market. There is not, in my mind, competition. There's only collaboration, especially in the Latina market. And so that's just the way I do it. I mean, other people might have a different idea of it or kind of want to do it differently. To me, that's the only way it works for me for this business. Yeah.
So you became somewhat of found the actual wholesaler and just compile it into one-stop shop that you can have to display all these amazing people, artists' work. And then, of course, you're encouraging them and you're empowered and supporting their work that they're doing.
Absolutely.
And having a display all over the place as well.
Yeah. That's it.
Your website, very neat.
Thank you.
Did you get somebody to make it? Did you figure out yourself, or how did that go?
I am working with Hermosa Creations, and she's helping me with that. And I had to get help. It's taken a long time to build the funds to get help because I'm self-funded, but
Of course.
I need help. Yeah, she's helping me with that right now, and I hope to continue to build that. There will always be new things on there. That's what I like about a boutique, is that the products rotate. So if you see something that you love, buy it because it might not be there tomorrow. It's handmade. It's,
So they are one of a kind pieces.
A lot of times they are. A lot of times they are. A lot of it is not mass produced. It's small batch, and it's what that person has made. And so you're taking their time, their energy, their products. It's beautiful.
I can see that part at displaying on the website at times. There's only 5 left because it is true, because there's not going to be
very
no
few.
more.
Venezuela, for example, a student gave me this necklace from Venezuela.
I did look at it too earlier when when you came in.
A college student of mine gave this to me as a gift, and I contacted the vendor, the artisan. I know I have that in my head. The artisan.
That was my fault.
Yeah, don't plant those words in my head.
So you contacted directly the artist.
I did. I told her I thanked her for this piece. It was beautiful. Did she have other pieces? Did she wholesale?
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about her, she wasn't in the United States, and now she is, because I made that connection. She was willing to do it. We're willing to have this beautiful partnership. It's hard to get that stuff over here from Venezuela. I'm not going to lie. It's very difficult. But it's beautiful handmade pieces. If you see the stuff, the gold plated stuff on the website, they're some of my favorites.
So people can go online shopping, get the piece and get it shipped to them.
They can. And I try to rotate the artisans. So I'll do a feature maybe every quarter of a featured artisan. So our featured artisan was Alejandra Parra. She was on the website for the Christmas time when you met me. That was her. She's still up there.
That's
So
awesome.
there's a featured artisan drop down that you can click on and see who's featured.
Okay, so we're gonna put the website in the description, but go check it out. It's very lovely. I like again when you hover over the picture, it kind of does a little movement, and it's kind of neat. Instead of stagnant, it just kind of does a little something.
Thank
So
you.
it's
We're
very
working
neat.
on it. It's a work in progress.
I like the way it's doing because it's neat and again it's functional, and you can click on it and see everything there is.
Thank you.
So it's awesome. Self-funded. You mentioned that, and also in previous things that you have mentioned, other articles. Why self-funded is important for you to be able to do that? Why not go get a loan, or even if anybody considers to even give you a loan as a small business doing what you're doing?
I don't know that I know the full answer to the loan thing. I think this goes back to my roots of scarcity and just wanting to just be that independent. And my dad always teaching me, you've got to be able to take care of yourself kind of thing. And, that's all obviously played out throughout my life. So maybe that's part of it. I would say too that the reason I'm self-funded and I don't have like sponsors per se is because I'm a very inclusive business and my values are inclusive and I want to remain that way. So I will support the causes that I want to support. And sometimes when you have somebody who is funding you,
Right.
you don't have that option. And I have that option.
Understood. So being more independent to be able to make the decisions and the people you want to have is more important than to have somebody else maybe influence that decision for you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So lovely everything that you're doing as far as like the idea of expanding and finding other Latinas, and I got a piece from you, as I mentioned earlier, a Christmas piece that I put on my Instagram, and I have it in there. Very neat, very neat. And then again, I love that the fact that you kind of tell the story of the person, who the art is, who maybe where they came from, their roots, and how do they do this and that, and it's pretty neat.
Thank you.
That's part of the things that you emphasis whenever your people are approaching your table, right? You want to be able to have them be known.
That's what we are focusing on, and we're trying to make that better on the website. I can do it all day long when I talk to you. It's not hard, but I want people to come to the website and understand what makes us different from some other boutique, because there's lots of boutiques out there, right? But this boutique is, again, focused on artisans, variety. It's inclusive. A part of the money goes back to the community. So I'm able to donate some of the money to the community as well. Okay.
What is if you don't mind me asking, because sometimes I don't like to tell people what I'm doing whenever I'm helping, because it's not their business. But is there a particular foundation or a particular organization that you like to support that other people should know about, that they can support?
I'm going to tell you all of them, because
absolutely.
I absolutely. Dallas for Change is one of our biggest. We give to them very often. They're doing a lot of work in the community. I've met as we've talked about, other people through.
Shout out to Ida.
Yes, we love you. All these beautiful women in business that I've met through this. So Dallas for Change, Vecinos Unidos is another organization that, because of those markets, that Tamal market, I was able to make a donation to them.
Somos Texas, you know them, right?
Somos Texas, I've worked with them before. I've done markets or been approached about markets with them. Firme, which is a scholarship fund for our Latino students. And so there's just a gamut of organizations. I did a Genesis Women's Shelter. One time I did an event that the part of the money went there.
Can they find this on your website as far as the people you?
I have not put that on there yet, so I need to work on that. Thank you. I need to put that.
If you can send them to me, even if they have a website or anything, I can also put it in the description.
I would love. Yes, these are all wonderful, and I will often say, hey, if you bring a can, for example, I'm having an event, bring a can for Dallas for Change, you'll get a discount. I've put that out there as well. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah.
I was thinking about. Because I remember the day I met you, you had a videographer. You was doing some videos.
That was loud.
So in my mind, I'm like, if you want to tell their story about your vendors, that would be a neat story to have as you're displaying their work. Just a small little video that you can put on your website.
I love that.
That could be playing as the people are shopping.
What a great idea. Yes, absolutely.
It may be here in the near future, but I think it's pretty neat too, if you really want to have them tell their story a little bit. 30 seconds, a minute, not that long. Kind of neat.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, as far as moving forward and other things that you want to do with My Silver Lining, what is it that you're trying to, what is in your mind that you're working? Of course, improving the website, of course, connecting with more, but what else do you want to shoot for?
Right now, balance, because I still teach full time. So it's, I'm still serving my community college teaching community and trying to be engaged with them, and then at the same time have the business. So I think it's a slow growth. For me,
Gotcha.
it's always been slow growth. I've not been able to take off, in any way like that. So for me, it's just adding those pieces that you said. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had this feature? Wouldn't it be cool if we, had maybe like a little flyer up for so-and-so or whatever? I mean, it's just those little pieces of adding to a business. Yeah. I don't have any like grand ideas or anything like that. I just want to grow it slowly, and I want it to be intentional, and I want the people who want to be part of it to be part of it.
Do you ever run into any of your students or even younger
They've
students
come,
and see you?
yes, they've come. Oh gosh, I feel old when I see the young one. I had a student who was a kindergartner in my kindergarten class come to my college class.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? He recognized you?
It was a girl, and she recognized me, and she's like, "Maestra."
Maestra.
I was like, "Oh, now I feel old officially." That was the day I officially turned old.
That's neat though.
It was
To know
beautiful.
that you had her in kindergarten and all the way to college. Now
It was
you
a
get
beautiful,
to still
like-
be in her path. You ain't getting away, girl.
I got you all the way through.
All the way.
It was a beautiful experience, I will say. And yes, I've had students support me. I do teacher appreciation every year. That's
Nice.
a big deal for me to give back to teachers because I am a teacher.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've seen them support me as well.
Awesome. We're running short on time, but thank you so much for everything that we touched about. Is there on your way over here? I know you were a little nervous.
I was.
And I'm waiting for the survey that I never sent to you. But when you're like, oh man, I wish he touched us up on this. I wish we talk about this. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to mention or talk about?
No, I just want to thank you for letting people tell their story, because when you ask about things in our culture, like divorce and things like that, it's important for other people to hear your story, I think, because I think that helps them to understand they're not alone in their experience.
Yeah, it's such a taboo thing to talk
Yeah.
about sometimes, and
Yeah.
other stuff that we don't talk about.
Right.
Alcoholism, abuse, all kinds
all
of
of the
stuff.
things.
I mean, we
Yeah.
just seen the Dolores Huerta deal that came out. They just not years and years of it, and I had a suspicion the homie was not.
It didn't
pleasant.
surprise me, which was the saddest part.
That's the saddest part too.
It didn't surprise me, but I'm so thankful and encouraged, because that's how you heal. That's the healing that can come.
Truth has no time. When it comes out eventually.
That's right.
It could be years and years later.
That's right. So telling
But
stories and really telling your truth, getting that out there, I think that's part of it. And what you're doing is letting people do that. So thank you. I thank you for that.
Absolutely. Again, this is when I went to Colombia, the area that I was at, dicen con gusto, en lugar de nada, and I love it. It's like with joy, with happiness for me to do this. So con gusto. So I adopted that word, and I'm gonna say as much as I can. Con gusto. Absolutely. What is all your social media? Where can people find you at? The website and all the social media, por favor.
My Silver Linings Biz. Yep, that's it. At My Silver Linings Biz, or mysilverlinings.biz for the website.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then again, nothing else that you wanted to talk about in events, any events you have?
We have an upcoming women's wellness event. It's up on the Instagram page right now. A collaboration. It is with Mommy Mindset is the handle. Annalise, and a group of women, again, that I've been so privileged to come to know through this business. And there's been a lot of collaborations of that kind. And what you will get to see is you'll get to see other professional Latina women. And well, it's open to everyone. It's not just Latina women, but that's been the focus. You'll get to see them do Pilates, have a wellness chat, and then meet with other entrepreneurs. And I think that's the greatest benefit of something like that, is you meet with other entrepreneurs and you get help for your businesses and connections, and just really authentic connection.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm on into the wellness part.
Yeah, come out, do Pilates with us.
I just barely began to start, like, just just barely trying to out yoga,
Okay.
and it hurts.
It does.
3 days later, I'm still sore. But yeah, maybe so. Again, I got a million and one things going on sometimes, but sometimes I
Yeah,
just
we
show up sometimes.
we just put the events up every
Pilates
month.
is hard, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Not like
It's
a
gonna
walk
be
in the park.
it's gonna be beginners.
Yeah, still difficult. Saludos. Any shout outs that you have to anybody?
I think I've already said it to most of the people that, have just been. I just want to tell the people who have supported my business, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've had so many women in this community embrace me, and men. I mean, just across the board, just even your community when we went out to Fort Worth. What amazing people from the chamber.
Right.
The chamber people were wonderful in Fort Worth. So thank you to them. Thank you to everyone who supports small business. That's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. What is an important lesson that you learned about your business that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else out? What would that be?
Do it no matter what. Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do it scared. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah.
So true, man. You just gotta jump on and do
You
it.
gotta do it.
After a while, you just gotta get it out of your mind and just at least you'll know
Exactly.
if it worked or not. If whatever, and even if it didn't work out, what did you learn from it?
Right.
And then
It's
pivot
all
to
learning.
something else.
It's all learning.
All an experience. That's all it is. During my day, throughout my day, or sometimes during my week, months, I say something along those lines. I'm not immortal. I am mortal. And I will die one day. Not to scare me or terrify me or anything like that or bring some bad juju. But it's a reality in life, right? We're not here forever.
Right.
With that, I wish you a very long, prosperous life. After everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
Oh, wow. That's like a big question. I didn't expect that question. That I was of service to somebody. Yeah, that I was able to make this world a little bit of a better place for my kids and for other people.
You think being an educator and of service is one of the callings of yours?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So, Bernadette, again, we only met like 2 times, and it was pretty neat to watch you interact, just being supportive with the Latinos. You were just there being part of the event, making cookies. And then, I don't remember, what did you make that day? Because I made
Christmas tree or something.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm not much of a cook, so I'm so thankful they were made, pre-made.
Pre-made. Oh, it is the decoration part.
I'll tell you that. We don't have to cook anything, do we?
And then I watched you at the Tamales and Lote Fest, and you were just doing your thing. And, again, I saw the pieces. I got one of your pieces, and it's pretty neat to be able to watch you and hear you. And there's passion behind of you talking about the other women and the artists that they're doing. It was awesome, and I liked it so much. So I'm like, one of these days. And then eventually our schedules conflicted, but we made it happen.
We did it.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have your daughters here in spring break, and of course they're priority. But thank you so much for taking the little window to be able to tell a little bit of your story, and I hope that people go find you, because they definitely need to check you out wherever you are at vending or in the website.
Yeah,
you can shop online. So, and without a shadow of a doubt, Bernadette, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe right now. You have these amazing stories that you can learn from our cultura, real stories that will touch up. And if you are looking for somebody and thinking that you're alone, you might not be if you listen to some of the stories that we have on our channel. So subscribe right now. And remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are humans. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.